Have you seen that viral video of that woman? She's trying a pasta. If this had bacon in it, it would taste like an Italian carbonara. And he goes, if my grandmother had wheels, she'd be a bike. And I just thought the moment was hella funny because it's like, yeah, like what are we
Irrelevant.
talking about? Like
Yeah.
it's kind of irrelevant.
Thanks for your concern.
Welcome back to Thanks for Your Concern. You're here with Ella.
And I'm Bernice. How are you, Ella? What's up?
Hello. Have you noticed something's different about me?
Yes, it's the braid.
It's the braids. If you guys are listening to this, I got long boho braids for the summertime because I'm actually really excited. Berenice has been telling me for years I need to be doing braids.
Yes.
She's like, you got to do braids. I used to do, little black girl cornrows with pink beads on the end. And I didn't want to do cornrows. The boho braids, I'm going to be really honest. Initial thoughts.
Mhm.
These are a sensory nightmare. This is making me feel ultra neurodivergent because I think 90% of people would not notice. I feel like I notice every little strand of hair touching me, and I do not like that. But lessons have been learned. I think I'm just gonna do a knotless braid next time because they wouldn't be so like long and luscious and less free. But we like the look. We need a protective style. When I went to Thailand, I didn't like any of my pictures because my hair looked a fucking mess, and it was just the atmosphere was just not cooperating with curly hair, so I looked like a frizzy monster the whole time. So I said, I'm doing a protective style, I'm braids. So we'll see how these hold up in Vietnam.
Woo!
Because I'm leaving on fucking Friday. Well,
Oh my goodness. Can you get them trimmed?
see, I do believe I am going to get them trimmed.
Okay.
So that's the thing that I think I'm going to probably do. My braider is a little far from me because Seattle is out of control with housing and braiders, okay? Those are like the two things that Seattle is just, it's doing too much for what it is. Like, what are you talking about braiding hair? I'm telling you, like, it's like over New York prices for braids, if you would believe that.
Well, good thing you're coming next month. You can just get them done here.
We're going to New York twice this year. Once in like 3 weeks. We're going to do a little summertime in New York. That'll be really fun. And then I got us Lily Allen tickets in September. For face value, thank God. Love you, Lily, but I'm not paying fucking $500 a ticket to see you. But I'm very excited about that. So, 2 New York trip. How fun.
Woo! Nice.
How's everything with you?
Things are good. I've been to my first ball, okay? Thank goodness. If you are not familiar with like ball culture, it stemmed from like the 80s New York queer culture where balls were basically made it to, there were different houses which you could join, and these balls like showcase just individuality. They have different categories, and it allowed for a space for people to basically be like whoever they want to be with their chosen family for a night. And there's a show called Pose. It was on FX. I believe it's on Hulu.
Yeah.
Which you can watch about this period of time. Ball culture is still present. It's not the same. Obviously, it looks a little different. But my friends just recently watched Paris is Burning, which is also a documentary, which you can watch about balls in general in the 80s.
Highly recommend.
And so they went on a deep dive and they're like, we found one, we should go. And it was really cool, but I will tell you this, they start late, okay? It was a Monday at 1:30 a.m. So by 3, I was like, I was not prepared for this time change. But next time, I will be prepared.
I love that. So I feel like the other ball related TV show is Legendary, which was that reality voguing show. It was actually really cool.
Oh yeah,
And it was I'm trying to think of who was the judges. I know La Roche was one of the judges, and there were some other like ball rule legends of the ball that were judges there that were cool. Yeah, Paris is Burning is one of my favorite docs actually. I think it's really well done about that. So how fun is that? I love that. I think the most people also would know like RuPaul and Michelle Visage, RuPaul's Drag Race. They like met in ballrooms like in some of the first like ball kids. So yeah, that's really cool. Love it.
Thank you. Yeah, there lots of really talented people. The aura was insane. But yeah, that's what I've been up to. Just checking out new things with friends, trying to get re-inspired. I feel like New York, there's so many things that you can do here, and I'm just
Mhm.
scratching the surface.
Oh my gosh, I think that's in every city, right? It's like, but yeah, especially. So I love that. All right, well, you guys, we have a very exciting app today. I was reminded of this quote recently, but one of my dad's famous quotes that doesn't really make sense but does is, "If it and but were candies and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas." The time my cousin said that, my uncle and my dad both say it, but one time my cousin was like, "Oh man, if I had pivoted in that soccer game, if I had passed it there," and he was like, "If I had done this, if I had done this, like we would have won that game." And my uncle goes, "If ifs and buts were candy and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas." And the whole point is like, if and buts, those are endless. Like everyone's got ifs and buts, but it doesn't really mean anything.
Right. I think when I was thinking about all the ifs and buts that I most practice per se, have a little bit to do with like imposter syndrome. I'm always like, it's kind of like waiting for the right moment, or just being like, I'm just like, nah, if I was this, if, sometimes it comes to like, if I, let's see, if I was like more in shape, I feel like I could like audition for certain things. I have felt that before, where I was like, is it really that, or is it just because, like I don't want to action on it?
Yeah, I mean, I understand that too, and I think mine is, if I had this one more tool, or if I had this one more equipment, then it would make this easier. Which might be true, but it's also a really poor excuse for just not doing something. It's like, oh well, if I had this editing software, if I had this, what's the latest thing? Oh, the latest thing I had to like talk myself out of is, I was like, okay, I need a desktop computer running programs 24/7 so that it like runs without me attending to it. So basically I was just trying to like automate the process, but I couldn't automate it on my laptop as easily. And so I was like, oh, if I just automate this, and I'm like, girl, we are putting the horse in front of, or the cart in front of the horse, all right? Where it's like, you're not that big yet. Like I feel like I kind of like have like this like black and white, go big or go home mindset that honestly sets me back, because I'm like, well, if I'm not gonna have a full production, then what's the
Right.
It's like, dude, full productions come later for creators and like entrepreneurs. No one starts with all the shit at once.
No, and I think that you see that sometimes because I don't know. I remember being discouraged by seeing sometimes people have different access to things I wanted, where I was like, damn, they're more set up to win per se. Like people had in-home studios, they just had like more room. They just had more expensive equipment, and I'm like, damn. However, I will say that with anything, I think like the passion you have for something and the willingness to start with what you got will lead to that perseverance. Like I have had the same sewing machine since college, and we have made like the amount of outfits she's made, okay, and I don't even have like the best sewing machine or an industrial sewing machine. Like she gets the work done, and I feel like before maybe I was discouraged because I just didn't feel like I had the level of equipment needed to create my goals, and I have just like acquired things over time that haven't been like a huge financial investment from the beginning, but as I have new projects and things coming, I'm able to like buy more things without that like super big finance that comes with everything, you know what I mean? And in a way that's been like a really beautiful natural unfolding. So waiting for the right equipment or moment, I think, isn't always what you should do. Maybe we should just start with what we got and see where we get.
Anytime someone talks about starting a podcast, I feel like honestly what me and Berenice says, I won't say mistake, but we went out and like, I'm telling you, I had someone calling me because I was trying to get some of the equipment we bought to work, right? And I'm talking to the phone and they're like, oh, well, you're an audio engineer. And I was like, no, I'm not. Like, I was like, what do you mean I'm an audio engineer? They assumed based on the shit that we bought from this website that I was an audio engineer. Okay, so that's like how serious we started. And like in retrospect, we could have gotten like one mic and just said fuck it, we ball, and we probably would have made like a similar product. And then as we grew, we would have gotten better. And so, my advice is just like jump in with what you have, because you're just like investing too early before you really have proof concept.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's like the thing that it's like, if you don't have proof of concept, at least get that. Because first of all, I think a lot of people maybe dive in too deep into something without really realizing if it's like compatible with their strengths and passions and like desires for workflow. But I think, for instance, like you might say like, oh, I really want to do this, like I really want to be a content creator. You might fucking hate editing, which makes content creation really hard. But if you had bought a camera, an editing computer, an editing software, and you figure that out after you've spent $2,000, then you're committed. You're like, fuck, I have to commit to this. I've already spent all this money, and then your life is kind of miserable. So that's why I always say like, don't let ifs and buts, just like start with what you have.
Yeah. And I think you can always tell people what you're interested and invested in and see if people are willing to meet you, because sometimes it's just easier to do it with a buddy. But in that same, I don't know, leap, like I think sometimes you wait for other people to do something with you and then you just wait forever. I know I specifically was afraid to move alone. Like I asked every single one of my friends, like, please move to New York with me. Like we're gonna have the best time ever. Nobody took me up on it. Do I feel like it kind of made my process a little bit longer? A little bit. I will say I'm more of a doer than an if. Like I would rather just like try it and then it didn't work out, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Rather than like if. I don't love to live in an if. But I do sometimes recognize that those patterns in myself that are a little more quiet, and I definitely see them in other people. I see it a lot in other people, and sometimes it's like the fear of maybe wanting your lifestyle to change. I think anything that you do, when you start prioritizing something for it, it's like a change that you are accepting and practicing, and it will change your life in certain ways. You might lose people in it. You might just lose the joy that you had in doing other things. Like I swear to God, when you start changing yourself to meet a new goal or experience, sometimes the things that you used to do just like don't interest you as much as they did before. And it's a little bit of like a learning curve and a limbo where you're still working towards something, but like you can no longer go back. You know what I mean? Like you can only go forward. Yeah.
I honestly feel that deeply. Like the person that you feel inside that feels most aligned doesn't align with like your lifestyle yet. But I think that is a sign of growth. When you start to feel kind of discomfort with like the old version of you, whatever that may be. And that might be like, for me, I've been kind of like the person who like stayed up late scrolling. That person just doesn't feel like me anymore, even though that was me and sometimes still is me.
Yeah, I think like it goes with anything. Like it goes with certain habits, and it goes even with people. I think for the longest time, like I've always known what it's like taken for me to get to the places I want to be, and one of those really scaling back, like going out and being social, because I put so much like time and energy into people and connections. And don't get me wrong, like I truly believe like people connections, all of that part of like probably the most important part of the human experience. But could we scale that back in a way where like those moments are like quality, precious moments, and then the rest of my time I'm very dedicated into something else. You know what I mean? And I think with that has changed a lot of my life, just because I don't try to go to everything. I don't try to be there. I have more comfortable saying no to things that I just don't feel like doing. I'm just not as, I think unsubconsciously, sometimes people are like trying to make friends and trying to outdo what they really want to do in order to like make new connections. And I think I used to do that a lot. And now as I started prioritizing depth, I see that practice a little different. And it does make your relationships look different. People are maybe not going to invite you to the same amount of things as you're not showing up. But I truly believe like you start to feel the difference between people that click, where your relationships are met very equally and very balanced, and spaces where you really have to, I don't know, put more of your energy to try to feel comfortable. And those just like fizzle out because they don't actually align with you. And you start to see the difference. So if you're thinking like, oh, my lifestyle is going to change if I start going after what I want, yeah, it probably fucking will. But maybe that is for the best. And there might be a period of you being uncomfortable or your life looking a little bit different, and you have to get used to it. But the fear on uncomfortability, so real. I think I didn't want to quit my corporate job for so long because I knew it'd be stable. And I knew that after I quit, it'd be uncomfortably financially. And it was. Like now I'm feeling a lot better. But I think for like 8 months, I was really stressed in a different way, where I was, okay, like I changed a lot of my habits with that. And I just see the value in things a little bit different. now. But I think I needed that.
I feel like everyone needs a good change. I was thinking about uncomfortability and where I feel like ifs and buts used to show up a lot for myself, and I still see in other people. It's like if things were different, like I don't know. Sometimes people say like, "Oh, I really wish like my family came from money or some shit." Like like I wish I wasn't poor, essentially. Yeah, babes, it doesn't really matter. Like that's not going to be different. And I think there's a lot of power in just deciding that it is what it is. And if have you seen that viral video of that woman? She's trying a pasta. And if this had bacon in it, it would taste like an Italian carbonara. And he goes, if my grandmother had wheels, she'd be a bike. And I just thought the moment was hella funny because it's like, yeah, like irrelevant. What are we talking about? Yeah. Like it's kind of irrelevant. That moment of just like letting go of this, like if had a different path. I totally believe in the butterfly effect of like not everything happens for a reason, because I think that bad things happen for no reason, but more that everything had to happen for you to be who you are today. And so if we go down this spiral of like changing things, like how do you know that you'd be where you're at now or where you're gonna be?
Yeah, and everything is not always as it seems. Like I have hung out with a lot of people that grew up around, and I can tell you that sometimes the way that they deal with stressful situations where they can't rely on another sit for them just looks different. Okay, sometimes people get frustrated really easy, and you could tell they just had a lot of support in stressful situations. That's not a bad thing. It's just not how me or people I know deal with stress situations. You just get it done. And I think like sometimes you have to see your circumstances as kind of like your secret weapon. Like you just know how to make things work with less in more creative ways. I see a lot of people practicing, even like with fashion, like creatives that have access to a lot of money to make really expensive, beautiful collections, and that's cool. But listen, I can make things with toys. And with things like I find potential in, and for me it's like I'm still expressing my creativity, and when I have funds to really want to spend $300-$400 on fabric for something that may not sell, then I'm sure I'll be able to do something awesome with it as well. But I think that you could just like really figure out the things that like work for you and just go from there, because even with that type of like creativity, and as a designer I do see people from different resources, and it doesn't like invalidate somebody's creativity or artistry based on the materials that they use. It's sometimes almost like more shocking when people are like using random items to create something that's like neat. So yeah, figure out those places where sometimes it's just not as it seems. Access to more money or more expensive things doesn't always meet with some of the skills that you're gonna need in your life.
Yeah, I see this in the corporate world where some people really function in a place of fear of like being laid off, which I understand being laid off isn't fun. But for me, I'm like, you know what? I can survive being poor. I can be happy being poor. And let me tell you something, I know how to hustle, okay? And so I feel like I kind of have a different mindset where I'm allowed to put up boundaries because I'm not like afraid of someone taking it away from me, because at the end of the day, I'd figure it out. Like worst case scenario, I would figure it out. And some people don't have that feeling, peace and love and all that, but I do think that's interesting, where it's like, okay, well, I don't think I would trade anything at this point because it's made me very resilient, and that has helped me more than having handouts would have.
That's very true. And see, what a life skill. When you go through a lot of things, you're just able to recognize you're gonna get through it.
I feel like that was actually one of the funniest things that I experienced in college. Struggling with money in college, whatever, like, didn't really matter. It is what it was. Some people were very used to living in their father's tax bracket, and they struggled a lot more with, like, the financial part of college, of just being, like, you just don't have a lot of money. Like, it's just what it is.
Or people took out a lot of loans and still live that lifestyle, and I can't tell you what that looks like. I don't got anything good, but we also did not really live above our means at all.
Nope. I literally used to feel, like, oh man, I wish I was on spring break trip. Come to find out, everyone's financing spring break. That's why they could afford to go on it. Wait, you guys are gonna be paying for spring break for like the next year? Ugh. So that's like ifs and buts, like, oh, if I had more money, I would go. It's like, yeah, but you just don't know like what that would mean.
My next path is like, I think I said if I had more time, and now I have time to choose like what the next thing is going to be, is proving to yourself that you got it. It's the actual action. That's the hardest part of the ifs and buts. It's just like doing the thing and seeing where it goes and continuity because see that every day, like people try things, but they're like, how long did they try for? And I think it's usually around the 8th month mark where people are like, they choose whether that's like the road or no.
I don't even think people put in 8 months sometimes.
It starts to get hard around month 3 and 4. Like really hard, like real,
Yeah.
you know, like that's a season.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm talking about like leases or things. Like I see people like move to New York and they are usually here like a year and a half. It's like it was actually really difficult, and it's like yeah, because there's no convenience in the city, unless you have a lot of money. So that's what I mean. Like sometimes it's like if you put like a year commitment to something, around that time it's when people are like, yeah, I'm moving back or something like that. But yeah, that's true. Some people quit or wait early, and that's okay. If it's not for you, you still did it.
I agree, but the thing that the writer for he's Trevor Noah and Sarah Silverman's writer, he's like, the difference between making it and not making it is giving up. If you just keep on going, even when there is like no positive feedback, and not positive feedback, but like I think a lot of times, at least for me, I'm looking for like monetary feedback or some type of like signal that what I'm on the right path. And sometimes you literally don't receive that. At that point, do you give up? And I think it's really hard not to give up unless you're truly passionate or you have delusion/vision that it's gonna work.
The belief that there's something to hold on to in life that has really kept me going. Like I love a good delusion, but delusion, you have to hold on to the good moment because I do believe like continuity is about holding on to the good moment. You're gonna have many bad moments, maybe not so stable moments, but if you believe something is worth it and that you got it, even if it doesn't lead you exactly to where you thought you were going to go. I think that's been the biggest thing about living in New York is like sometimes I get to places that I want to eat in the most random ways, but you just got to keep it pushing and see when it gets there that you're like, wow. Last year I didn't go to festivals like at all, and I was like, the next festival I go to, I'm gonna be paid. I just know I am. Like I don't know how I'm gonna do it yet, but I'm gonna get there. This festival season, I see those type of opportunities right, and I'm like, okay, we're gonna keep calm, we're gonna keep working, we're not gonna change anything that what we're doing, we're just gonna keep on doing it and see where that goes. And I think that goes with anything. I think that goes into relationships. I don't want anyone in any sort of like abusive or like really tumultuous relationship to feel like applies to them if it doesn't. But I see it in ways that sometimes you have rough patches in relationships that you have to work through, okay? And around month 3 is when they really start to hit the fan. I think I'll be vulnerable. Sometimes I don't like to talk about my relationship on social media because it's like, but you know, my boyfriend moved in with me. You just are around each other so much, so many things get brought up, just like having to share spaces and values and everything. It just like changes your relationship a lot. And I think that we started to just like hit this path where we were just like arguing constantly, and we're both like, why? You know, like what's going on here? And I just feel like that just like happens sometimes in relationships where it's like you have to be able to work out conflict in relationships. It hasn't made our relationship like abusive or anything like that. It's just like we understand that now we just have to like go through conflict a little bit more productively to get to the other side. But that's anything with continuity. That's just like you being able to push through it and figure out new ways that work for you in order to maintain any sort of long-term goal.
Staying on to a long-term goal and this like idea of like, oh, but babe, if you have something you want to do it, commit to the bit and see it through. And not giving up when there's like a hard moment. Like I think in relationship, it's like if we're talking about the long run, we're talking about, I mean, at least it's been 6 years. Like we think it's like 6 years is going to be like nothing. And I actually like consciously remember moments where I was like, I should fucking end it. But that was just like my, I guess like lizard anxious brain being like, and I'm like, well, I'm really happy I didn't end it in that moment because that would have been fucking crazy in retrospect, you know, for like one thing to happen for me to completely go off. But I think sometimes we don't take that same mentality to our activities, where it's like we do let one thing discourage us from continuing, because I think it's really hard when things are optional to continue with them. Like for instance, my job is not optional. Like I'm not gonna say it's not optional, but there are people holding me accountable other than myself. And when I mean optional, I mean is when you're having like a hobby or a passion that no one is checking in on you on. That's stuff that I feel like really just takes grit, keep going even through the hard thing. But anyone who has achieved what you want to achieve has definitely gone through some road bumps. Like, you never get onto like hear about your favorite entrepreneur, your favorite like creator, artist being like, yeah, it was all really easy, smooth sailing, didn't have any adversities, went exactly how I planned it. Yeah, don't really have any advice because everything went great for me. Like, that's not how it happened. It's like this happened and then this happened and I had this hurdle over hurdle and a hurdle. Something beautiful about being a human being is that like you don't really have that much of a unique experience. Someone has had the exact same obstacle as you and they've overcome it. And what's beautiful about that is that you can do it too. And also that you might have a blueprint. Like, I'm telling you, anything you think is unique, you can go on Reddit and someone's like exact same thing, quote for quote, has happened to somebody else. So I think that's like a big thing. Keep going.
In situations that you feel like are worth it, you're growing, you're developing something productive, whether that is friendship, new goals, relationship. I think if it's something positive in your life that is worth to continue, pursue it. And then you won't have to know if I did it, you did it.
I think that's the biggest thing that I've been thinking is like, would I rather regret doing it and failing or never doing it? And for me, it's always going to be doing it and failing. But I don't really even believe in failing because I set myself up to have different goals than just like, oh, I want to be famous. That's not really a useful goal. Hey, I want to get better at this skill set. Okay, well, that's something that's achievable that you don't need anybody outside validation for.
That is true. And then you also see that like you may inspire some people in your life, okay, by just doing the thing. Sometimes it's nice to have somebody that you can look that they did it and it worked out, and maybe that's the reason that you're doing it. Be the change you want to see in the world.
All right, you guys, get the ifs and buts out of your goddamn mind. No, put your ass to work. No, just joke. But I hope that you can like resonate with something about this, and we really love having you here each week. So make sure that you're subscribed, send it to a friend, it helps us out a lot, and make sure you rate and review this. You can find us on social media at thanks number 4 you're concerned, and I'm at LL Tutor.
And I'm a Ready City as M. Bye.
See ya. Bye.